Greetings, classmates, Lloydies, fellow techers. I wanted to be there for Lloyd House's celebration of its 50th anniversary. Things got in the way, but I'm posting this on YouTube as a surrogate, wishing you all a great time and many, many years of successfully guiding high-stressed hothouse types through their time at Tech. I remember when I first went to Caltech to start there in the fall of 1968. That was probably the most stressful, tense year that anybody who remembers it can think of. One good thing about it, the music was spectacular. But it was a year that was so tense. Any 1 week was like any year that you guys have experienced. Take my word for it. I remember after a few weeks there was a sudden excitement. And people were running all over campus between the old and the new houses, gathering wood, breaking up chairs. And I asked, "What's up? What's up?" I hadn't attended the football game. Hardly anybody did. They hadn't won a game in 4 years until that day. First football victory in 4 years. They defeated a UC campus, UCSD, with its brand new football team. We blitzed the corner of Lake in Colorado, and California Lake also, and set up bonfires in the middle of the street. The police arrested the guys so that they'd clean up. That was it. Well, it only happens in a blue moon. After that, UCSD quit football forever. Later, when I did graduate school at UCSD, I told this story, and a number of people thanked me for having made UCSD one of the few campuses without a football team, as if I had anything to do with it. I was on the fencing team. Helped coach the women to their first victory, which brings up another major transition. Around 1970, women were admitted to Caltech. It was all male. It was a monastery before that. And strangely enough, in certain ways, don't get this wrong, ladies, in certain ways, socially, it was better. Because there are some guys who will have a girlfriend even if they're in Antarctica. Well, these guys got their girlfriends at other campuses, so there was social relationships. It made the dances and things better. But the girls came, the women came, and it made the campus far more exciting, vibrant, interesting. As a matter of fact, I later married a woman who got her PhD at Caltech. So my kids are doubly cursed. In any event, I remember very well what things were like back in 1968, 69, 70. It was a time of immense transition. The Vietnam War, hippie-ish behavior on the part of the nerds on campus. I remember my hair grew very long. And during the first 2 years, some of the older traditions were maintained, like dress meals. 3 or 4 nights a week, you had to dress for dinner. The weighted dinners, the guys sat up better. They looked each other in the eye. As a matter of fact, Friday evening, you traditionally brought your dates to Lloyd House to have dinner with everybody else. The dates were very impressed with somewhat of the old school formality. As a matter of fact, I'd recommend you try it at least once a month. Dress up dinners with some formality. If you become very good at it, it might be a good place to bring your dates, as hard as that is to imagine. Imagination was a large part of learning how to cope at Caltech. I remember one time there was a dance at Page House, and Richard Feynman was holding forth. He was wearing a turtleneck. He had not made his greatest discovery, which was that the turtleneck is not an item of male clothing. It might be that night that he got his inspiration, because he turned to me, bowed, and said, "May I borrow your date for this dance?" Well, she was thrilled. I would have given him my left arm, my firstborn child. So he took her out onto the dance floor. It was a little ditty called "In-a-gadda-da-vida." It lasts 25 minutes. Well, after about 10, he's just, he can't vent. He's on the verge of collapse. He leads her back to me and says, You must take my place. Well, like an idiot, I ruined my life that evening because I took him very seriously and I became a physics major. I later figured out that's not what he meant. I remember around 1970 we had an inner house in which we made an entire wall of Troy and a gigantic Trojan horse. You entered through his mouth and people would leave onto the wall through his other end. That same year, the fellow who designed the horse also painted that wonderful crest that's on the wall today, teaching you the great Lloyd House motto, I live for those I love and die. Not much else to talk about. It was an uneventful time except for the Vietnam War and moon landings and everything else. Oh, and I started my first novels at Lloyd House. My freshman year, I started one that I've never taken out of the drawer, but I've just started thinking about taking it out again. Circulated among the guys in the hall. Once I went up to one of the best guys who was one of the best editors, and I said, well, is the plot thickening? And he said, yes. Criticism. Anyway, my second year, I started another novel, To Ease the Pressure, and it later became my second novel, The Practice Effect, which has a lot of in-jokes, a lot of Lloyd House and Caltech inside jokes, names of a lot of the guys who were in the class. I won't take too much more of your time except to say, hang in there, try to survive, try to take on stuff that's challenges that are useful, help our civilization move forward. Try to live, okay? Have some fun, all right? Learn to love, and don't take yourselves too seriously. You have an incredible mission, and that is to help build a civilization that actually uses and admires and has ambitious goals for science. A civilization that's ambitious and wants to make the 21st century different. This is worth fighting for, politically, socially, but especially. Good luck, guys.